Thank you for subscribing to our channel. Today is Saturday, February 13, 2021. CNN report. The Yemen I know and love. Tawakkol Karman is a human rights activist, journalist and politician. She played a key role in the 2011 pro-democracy youth uprising in Yemen. She was awarded the 2011 Nobel Peace Prize, along with Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and Lima Bowie, in recognition of her leadership in the nonviolent struggle and her advocacy. Follow her on Twitter, @Tawakkol Karman. The views expressed in this commentary are hers.
BBC report. Fukushima. Powerful earthquake rocks Japan weeks from disaster anniversary. The quake was 7.3 magnitude and was felt strongly in Tokyo, but a tsunami warning has not been issued. There have been no reported casualties, officials said, but almost 1 million homes in the region are without power. This struck near the epicenter of a 2011 quake, which triggered a tsunami and killed more than 18,000 people. That tsunami caused a nuclear accident at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant, the world's most severe nuclear accident since the Chernobyl disaster in 1986.
Al Jazeera report. Cyprus police use tear gas at rally against graft, COVID curbs. Police in Cyprus have fired tear gas and used water cannon in rare skirmishes with protesters rallying against corruption and restrictions imposed over the coronavirus pandemic. Hundreds of protesters on Saturday gathered at a park in central Nicosia where they were surrounded by dozens of police officers in riot gear. Several groups including left-wing and anti-fascist activists and trade unions had used social media to call for the protest in the capital, citing state authoritarianism and corruption, notably over a controversial golden passport scheme that was scrapped last year after an investigation by Al Jazeera implicated high-ranking officials in passport sales.
CNN report. U.S. Capitol Police officers issue vote of no confidence for acting chief, other top leaders. Members of the U.S. Capitol Police issued a vote of no confidence in the force's top leaders more than a month after the January 6 riot at the Capitol left dozens of officers injured and led to the death of Officer Brian Sicknick. Vote totals varied for each boss, but each of the 7, acting chief Yogananda Pittman, 2 assistant chiefs, 3 deputy chiefs and a captain in the division that staffs the Capitol building, were found not to have the confidence of rank-and-file officers, according to 2 sources who shared the vote totals with CNN.
Fox report. CDC Guidelines deal blow to teachers' unions, say vaccinations not required for in-person teaching. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention on Friday issued guidance saying that vaccinations are not required for in-person learning. The CDC is not demanding schools reopen, but its guidance states that screening, testing and vaccinations are not prerequisites for safe reopening if students and staff consistently implement the mitigation strategies the agency recommends. Those measures include analyzing health data, making masks mandatory and ensuring 6-foot social distancing.
Al Jazeera report. Peru swears in new health minister after COVID vaccine scandal. Peru has sworn in a new health minister, the country's president confirmed on Saturday, after a scandal broke this week over former President Martin Vizcarra receiving a coronavirus vaccine before it was widely available in the South American nation. President Francisco Sagasti said on Saturday that Health Minister Pilar Mazzetti, who led the health office during Vizcarra's administration, handed in her resignation on Friday night.
BBC report. COVID-19 pandemic. China refused to give data to WHO team. Microbiologist Dominic Dwyer told Reuters, The Wall Street Journal and the New York Times the team requested raw patient data from early cases, what he called standard practice. He said they only received a summary. China has not responded to the allegation but has previously insisted it was transparent with the WHO. The U.S. has urged China to make available data from the earliest stages of the outbreak, saying it has deep concerns about the WHO report.
CNN report. Virginia man at center of alleged Oath Keepers insurrection conspiracy must stay in jail, judge rules. A Virginia man accused of planning with members of a paramilitary group to descend on the Capitol last month is a real danger to the public and must remain in jail ahead of his trial, a federal judge ruled Friday following a hearing that included allegations that the 66-year-old kept a death list with the name of an election official scrawled on it. More than an hour into the lengthy hearing, Thomas Caldwell pleaded personally with the judge in an unusual exclamation that drew protests from his defense attorney.
Deutsche Welle report. Thai protesters face off against police. Thai security forces on Saturday arrested at least 7 people after protesters clashed with police in Bangkok, injuring about 20 officers, a police spokesman said. Hundreds of demonstrators took part in the march against laws prohibiting insult to Thailand's king. The organizers of the rally called for the crowds to disperse as protesters moved from the Democracy Monument. Those that remained clashed with police, according to reports, including some who threw paint and homemade explosives at officers.
BBC report. Myanmar coup. What will the military do now? Looking nervous in front of the teleprompter, General Min Aung Hlaing made no mention of his coup, the detention of the country's elected leaders, the mass demonstrations against military rule in all corners of Myanmar and from all walks of life, the storm of international condemnation and the threat of renewed sanctions. Instead he repeated tired old military slogans about the need for discipline and unity, and his still unsubstantiated allegations of electoral irregularities in last November's poll.
Fox report. Fort Worth deadly accident. Some victims identified after 130-car pileup due to icy conditions. 5 of the 6 victims from the 133-vehicle pileup in Texas have been identified. The Tarrant County Medical Examiner confirmed the identities of several of the victims as of Friday morning. The victims include Aaron Watson, 45, and Tiffany Gerd, 34, both of Fort Worth. Christopher Vardy, 49, of Boyd, Texas. Michael Wells, 47, of Justin, Texas. And William Williams, 54, of Pahoa, Hawaii. Watson is survived by his wife, Jane, and 2 children.
Deutsche Welle report. Trump impeachment trial proceeds after Roe over witnesses. Closing arguments in former U.S. President Donald Trump's impeachment trial started Saturday after the Senate reached a deal to skip witness testimony. U.S. senators had been close to concluding the trial, when proceedings were briefly halted as Democrats, along with 5 Republicans, initially won a vote to call witnesses. The trial rules say that if senators agree to hear witnesses, votes to hear additional testimony would be allowed.
Deutsche Welle report. Coronavirus. Germans' mental health worse in second lockdown. Study. People living in Germany are struggling with their mental health more during the current lockdown than the first. This is an interim finding, published by Saarland University on Saturday. Researchers at the university have been monitoring 1,500 men and women for a year to measure the psychological and social consequences of the coronavirus pandemic. The time period has spanned 2 lockdowns, the first in mid-March to mid-April 2020 and the second, which began in mid-December and is ongoing.
CNN report. A 7-year-old boy went back into a burning home to save his baby sister. A 7-year-old boy named Eli saved his baby sister's life when he jumped into her room through a window to rescue her from a fire that destroyed his family's home. It was a typical night at the Davidson household in New Tazewell, Tennessee, on December 8. Chris and Nicole Davidson fed their 3 children dinner, tucked them into bed and were asleep by 8:30 p.m. Hours later, Nicole Davidson woke up to the smell of smoke.
Al Jazeera report. U.S. top court clears way for accused Ghouan plotters' extradition. The United States Supreme Court has cleared the way for the extradition of 2 U.S. men accused of aiding former Nissan Motor Company Limited chairman Carlos Ghosn leave Japan, where he was facing financial misconduct charges. The top U.S. court on Saturday rejected an emergency request from the lawyers of Michael Taylor and his son, Peter Taylor, to freeze a lower court's order that cleared the way for their extradition to Japan.
Thank you for watching 5 p.m. recap. To be notified, you can subscribe our channel and activate the bell.